I'm telling you something that has been taught to me. So therefore, people always try and push this narrative that Paul was inventing things, but Jesus, this whole resurrection,
he was inventing,
death and resurrection
but
was.
But
do you accept that Paul had the Gospels from someone else, as per 1 Corinthians?
I don't accept
because
I don't accept anything about Paul. I don't accept anything about Paul.
No, but see,
I think Paul was an
if you're trying to be, if we're going by scholarship, because even scholars will say this doctrine Paul got predated Paul. He got it through Peter and is it Peter and James, I think.
Okay, if you want to talk about scholars, there are things in the epistles of Paul. But there are epistles attributed to him. Scholars
but what Paul was teaching, especially the death and resurrection, was not something he invented.
Who wrote? You know, there are letters of Paul attributed to him.
Yeah,
2 Corinthians.
Okay.
Yeah. And scholars think it wasn't written by him.
That I'm not sure. I've not heard of the argument about that.
You have never heard any argument about one of the epistles of Paul?
Yeah, I don't know what epistle it is though. I'm not
I
sure.
think it was if I'm not mistaken, it was 2 Corinthians. I can confirm it. Nazim, which epistle of Paul was attributed to him and it's doubted that whether he wrote it? 2 Corinthians?
2 Peter, yeah.
2 Peter.
Yeah, not
2 Peter. Yeah, sorry, 2 Peter.
Yeah.
Highly controversial, even in Greek. Those who know Greek, 1 Peter and 2 Peter, the language is very
different. But that's not conclusive in itself.
Of course. But coming back to our main point, salvation through the cross. Why is James telling Paul to go and sacrifice? And who's Paul? Don't forget. Why is Paul commanded to do this anyway? Because Paul is already accused of abolishing the law, which he did. And Paul was commanded by James specifically to go and sacrifice in the temple according to the law. Now, there are two options here. Either Paul did not teach to abolish the law, or Paul is a hypocrite. In both cases, you are in trouble. Read Acts 21. Read Acts 21, please. Either Paul did not teach the abolition of the law, or Paul is a hypocrite if he goes to the temple to sacrifice according to the law. In both cases, you are in trouble.
Not necessarily, because
read 21.
Yeah, but
let's read.
Let me just read it. But because the thing is, if you, are you going to be long?
No.
Yeah, we'll wrap up in this.
5 minutes. Yes.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
So, yeah, we can continue this next time you come a bit longer.
But read this chapter now. Let's summarize.
Because all I was going to say, in terms of the sacrificial system, for example.
But
I know. I'll read it.
This will explain everything. 21.
I know, but I'm just going to give you my understanding, and I'll read it.
But read and then give you understanding. Read first, please. 21. Chapter 21, Book of Acts. The question of salvation by the cross. Paul had said that the law, the curse of law has been lifted by the death of Jesus Christ on the cross. Therefore, we do not have to follow the law. And in chapter 21, he is told by one of the major disciples of Jesus Christ, James, to go and follow the law. So what's going on? Read. Are you reading first and then you...
the Nazarene vow. So that's what you're referring to, right?
Yes, okay.
So
chapter 21.
From my memory...
Can you read?
Yeah, I'm looking at it.
Read it. First read it and then explain it. Do you have chapter 21 there?
Yeah.
Okay, can I read it? Where is it? Where does it start? Chapter 21, where does it start?
Starts from 1.
And when we had parted from them and set sail, we came by a straight course to Kos, and the next day to Rhodes, and from there to Patara. And having found a ship crossing to Phoenicia, we went abroad and set sail. When we had come in sight of Cyprus, leaving it on the left, we sailed to Syria and landed at Tyre. For there the ship was to unload its cargo, and having sought out the disciples, we stayed there for 7 days, and through the Spirit, they were telling Paul not to go on to Jerusalem. When our days they were ended, we departed and went on our journey, and they all with wives and children accompanied us until we were outside the city, and kneeling down on the beach, we prayed and said farewell to one another. Then we went on board the ship, and they returned home. When we had finished the voyage from Tyre, we arrived at, okay, all of this is about this journey, yeah? I want to get to the point, yeah.
It's broken down.
Yeah.
Let's talk about it now.
Okay, Paul visits James, chapters 21, book of Acts, verse 17 onwards. When we had come to Jerusalem, the brothers received us gladly. On the following day, Paul went in with us to James, and all the elders were present. All the elders were present. Who are these elders? The disciples of Jesus Christ. The disciples of Jesus Christ. After greeting them, he related one by one the things that God had done among the Gentiles through his ministry. Okay? And when they heard it, they glorified God, and they said to him, "You see, brother, how many thousands there are among the Jews of those who have believed." Are you reading? Yeah, who have believed. They're all zealous for the law. They are all zealous for the law. Okay? And they have been told about you that you teach all the Jews who are among the Gentiles to forsake Moses, which Paul did. Forsake Moses how? Leaving the law. Leaving the law. Telling them not to circumcise their children or walk according to our customs, which is an abolition of the law, which is exactly what Paul taught, that Jesus has died on the cross. Law is no longer necessary, it is a curse. What then is to be done? They will certainly hear that you have come. Do therefore what we tell you. We have 4 men who are under a vow. Take these men and purify yourself along with them, and pay their expenses, so that they may shave their heads. Thus all will know that there is nothing in what they have been told about you. That means that the fact that you have been telling people to abolish the law and not follow it anymore because of the sacrifice of Jesus is a lie. James is telling Paul, do all these things so that the people can see it's a lie. Okay? Now, there are a number of questions here. Is Paul actually lying? Or what, did Paul not tell them, no, I'm actually teaching that? If Paul did tell them that, why is James telling him to go and pretend as a hypocrite? And okay, but that you yourself also live in observance of the law. James is telling Paul, go and do all these things so that people can see that you are actually an observant Jew who observes the law. But as for the Gentiles who have believed, we have sent a letter with our judgment that they should abstain from what has been sacrificed to idols, and from blood, and from what has been strangled, and from sexual immorality, which is all the law. Okay? Then Paul took the men, and the next day he purified himself along with them and went into the temple, giving notice when the days of purification would be fulfilled, and the offering presented for each one of them, which means he followed the law. He has come back having preached to the Gentiles. He has already preached not following the law because Jesus has died on the cross. He was accused in Jerusalem of abolishing the law of Moses. James tell him, go and practice the law in front of people so that people know that you haven't actually taught that it's a lie against you, and Paul complies. Now either Paul did not teach the abolition of the law, or Paul is a lying hypocrite. In both cases for you. Now come out of it.
Well, obviously Paul taught that
the law is abolished.
Yeah.
So why did he go in the temple and do the law?
Well, from my knowledge, because he's showing that he's a hypocrite. No.
Either he didn't teach it, or he's a hypocrite. Which one is it?
No, because I'm just trying to think of the verse that
Think.
Because he
don't just say anything.
Yeah.
If you need research, you need to go away and do research and come back.
Because there's, in terms of Paul, from what I remember, because I've read around this.
No, you need to think about this, brother.
Yeah.
Because this is a serious matter. A lot of Christians don't think about it. Either Paul is a hypocrite, who believes in one thing and practices another, or he did not preach what he was accused of, or he's even lying to the disciples.
Yeah, because
obviously he said to James, no, that's not true.
Yeah.
That's why James is telling him, go and do such and such, so that people know that this is a lie. So either Paul has lied to the disciples and did what they told him to do, or he never said it. He never taught people to abolish the law. You are in seriously. This is a dilemma you cannot come out of. If you can, I'm here every Sunday and every now and then. Please do let me know so that I can also start changing my arguments against Christians.
Yeah, well, we'll go into it more.
Yeah, so you need more time? You need more time?
Well, because the thing is, even with this, from what I remember, because
forget about what you remember. If you don't know, don't misrepresent your faith.
Yeah, because in terms of the Nazarene vow, it was something to do. Paul is showing that there's nothing wrong with,
when you finish. Listen.
Because Paul's message was there's nothing necessarily wrong with observing the law, but we're not bound by the law.
No.
Yes.
Paul is saying,
because
Paul is saying because law is a curse that has been lifted by the sacrifice.
We're not bound by the law, but as a Jew, you are still able to observe the law, but you're not bound by the law.
To practice the law in front of Jews deliberately, so that they get the wrong idea about him. Is that hypocrisy, or is that being a true follower of Jesus Christ?
Well, obviously Paul expands on things in other, like goes on. I'll have to get the verse, and obviously if we have another discussion
so
on
we will
this,
suspend this judgment.
Yeah, I'll bring the exact verses, because there's Paul talks. I won't be able to bring them up, like all the different verses where he explains how the law is being applied, and that's something I can bring with references the next time.
Well, I need answers to two options. Either Paul is a liar,
yes,
or he never taught the abolition of the law. You have only two options. There's no third option.
Well,
because this chapter, Book of Acts, chapter 21, verse 17 onwards until the end, has put you in big trouble.
Not really.
Well, we'll see.
Yeah.
When you come back, we'll see.
Okay. Well, when are you next down anyway?
Possibly next Sunday.
Next Sunday?
Yeah, possibly next Sunday. Thank you very much.
Right.
Nice talking to you.
Okay, cool.